Here's a cool Vietnam story that my dad told me. He passed away, and he never really got to share a lot of his experiences. It was kind of hard to get it out of him, but one of the stories that he did tell me about, which was something I'm really proud that he did. Basically, he was in the Army. He was a first lieutenant. He went there a second lieutenant and left a first lieutenant. And he almost got in trouble in Vietnam. And the thing he did, and when I tell you the story, basically, he was over in Vietnam and he would arm the village people to fight against the North Vietnamese. So he would go into these villages, they'd teach the people how to defend themselves, they would arm them. The South Vietnamese people and these people called Montagnards. And one thing he realized is the North Vietnamese, when the NVA would come into these villages, the Montagnards would all huddle down in these huts. And the NVA would fire these B-40 rockets in there, and it would blow up and kill everybody. But the B-40 rocket had a simple flaw where if they put a chain link fence around, and the B-40 rocket hit it, it would blow up and make the rocket useless. So my dad saw that the Air Force had at one of their Air Force bases, I think it was in Nha Trang Air Base, or it was the base right near Nha Trang, their air base had all this chain link fence, and because he was a lieutenant, the guy's position he took over was a colonel that was killed. So he had more power than a first lieutenant normally would have, and he actually ordered people, well, he asked to get that chain link fence to put around these villages that they were going to arm, and his request was denied. They weren't going to spend the money to do it, and he ordered them to do it anyway. He ordered his men to go basically steal the chain link fence, and they put it up around all these villages, and and it's ended up saving a lot of people's lives. The Vietnamese people actually gave him like their Medal of Honor for doing that, but he was almost court-martialed for it. I remember hearing the story from one of his friends. Said, he was brought in front of this general, and the general sat him down and said, basically, you ordered your men to steal this fence. And in so many words, I forget exactly what he said to my dad, but he was like, great, bad, I forget, bad. The way he went about it was bad, but the idea behind it was great. And so I was really proud for my dad for doing that over there. And then I remember on his way back from Vietnam, only one person said thank you to him. He said it was a lady on the plane. It was the only person that said thank you to him, one of the stewardess. And then he was told to take off his uniform because he was landing in San Francisco and they were spitting on soldiers. And so that was pretty horrible. I was always, that had always kind of upset me, the way this country treated him when he came back. It wasn't his decision to send the country to Vietnam. He was drafted there. He went and served his country well. The way this country treated him when he came back was horrible, but never complained about it. And I was always proud of my dad for that. And he suffered a lot of effects from Agent Orange exposure later in life. Passed away about 2 years ago. Stuff directly related to that, but I've always been proud of him for his service, and that was a neat story that I always wanted him to tell, so I thought I'd tell this story, and hopefully somebody can relate to it, knows something about it. Please comment down below, and any other Vietnam veterans or any veterans, thank you for your service.